bank guarantees handled by trade finance as well as uh, trade admin, right? Now tell me, in your banks, I mean, if I ask this question very in a simple manner, are there any banks, just for my information, where there's no hard and fast rule and I can't say yes or no, correct or incorrect, nothing, right? Only the bank's decision. That's a management decision. Who is handling this bank guarantees? In your banks, uh, do you have any out of my participants, any bank where the bank guarantees are handled by other than trade finance? Other than trade finance. Are there any banks? උගලගේ කටවල් ටික ලොක් කරලා දාවේ කම්පියුටරේට හරි මේකට ජොයින් වෙනකොට. Or all your banks are handling, the trade finance are handling bank guarantees. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Majority of the banks, the trade finance is a part and parcel of trade finance operation, right? Bank guarantees. So we are going to discuss certain things under bank guarantees. And what I thought was not the same handout which I gave it to my previous classes, right? I have changed quite a lot the handout because I have seen certain malpractices and certain gray areas in handling bank guarantees. So I thought better to discuss those things with my students so that individually you can be enlightened about the gray areas in issuing bank guarantees and how to monitor and how to continue the controlling part. That's very important. Okay, right. Before we start the thing, I mean, now we have 17 people, right? Can somebody tell me what is a bank guarantee? In simple, I didn't want any definitions or anything. In your own words, can somebody describe what do you expect by issuing a bank guarantee and why we are issuing? Something like that? Janapati?
Bank give guarantee behalf of some company or some person.
Yeah, banks are issuing guarantees on behalf of a customer or somebody. Okay, fine. And why we are issuing? Why they are coming to banks for bank guarantees?
It's like a surety, surety payment.
Yeah. Okay. Surety payment. Do we always pay on bank guarantees? Do we always pay on bank guarantees?
Only if necessary.
Always.
I mean, if something is not, and if there's a claim.
If there's a claim. What do you mean by claim? I'm just now going on. But all your answers are correct, right? All your answers are correct. Very good. Others also should join. Others also should join this conversation. right? You said we are not paying always, right? Then on what instances we are paying?
Or incomplete or not to a certain standard, then
Are
the
they?
person we give the guarantee to can, then the person we give the guarantee to can claim it. Like if it's substandard work or not complete in time,
Right.
then
Right. What you're trying to tell me is if the applicant has not performed his job properly, then there will be a claim on the guarantee. Is that the one you're trying to tell me?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Correct. So that answer is also correct. So basically, you know why bank guarantees are being issued. And when we issue a LC, we will pay on the LC under what standard? Under what condition? When we pay on LC?
If all compliant documents are in order.
Good, good. If the documents are complied with the terms and conditions of the LC, then we will pay. Right? The bank guarantees, that also, if I say, if the documents are complied with terms and conditions of the bank guarantee, we will pay. Is it correct or is it wrong?
Wrong.
It's wrong. Then what is the correct one? Then what's the correct one? Pardon?
We are paying only
Service
the
has been done.
banks are paying correctly if the documents are complied.
If the documents are complied, we pay on the bank guarantee. What documents are what documents we are talking about? In bank guarantees, what is the only document we are calling? A claim. Is it a claim? We are claiming, right? We have to, the bank should get a claim to settle the thing. When we get a claim, on what grounds we get a claim? On what grounds we get a claim on a bank guarantee? Now gradually we are learning points one
If
by one.
customer,
If the job is not done properly, it's not completed properly.
If the project or contract is not done properly, or if the customer has not performed as per the requirements, then only we'll have to pay the damages. Right? Okay. Or if there's a delay in delivering the goods before an agreed deadline, then you are supposed to pay. Right? So the main difference between a LC and a bank guarantee is LC is paid when we complete the job. The bank guarantee we will pay when we do not complete the job. Right? Okay. Now we'll see. Now we'll start discussing about the bank guarantees. The usage of bank guarantees. Before we start the nitty-gritty things, we'll just think about the history of guarantees, right? If you talk about the history of the bank guarantees, we can trace it back to the oil boom in 1970s. Oil boom in the 1970s. But before that, in 1955, 56, that region, only Middle East countries started drilling oil. And uh, with the oil, right? Earlier in 1950s, most of the Middle East countries, including so-called most sophisticated city in the world by now, like cities like Dubai, right? People were Bedouins, the residents were Bedouins, that is local guys, right? Bedouins means in our country we call them Ahikunteka Katya, like gypsies, right? They go from one place to the other, right? There was no cultivation, no farming, only they were like uncivilized people. In Sri Lanka, we had about 2000 years back, but till 1958, 59, Dubai is also like that. And then with the oil boom, right? And somewhere in not 1970s, actually you had to change it to 1960s, right? And 70s was a boom, but before that, somewhere around 1960s, early 60s and all. I mean, when they got the oil, gradually the rulers in the Middle East countries like Dubai, Sharjah and Abu Dhabi and all, they started improving the infrastructure of their country, right? And then till then they didn't have any airports, no carpeted roads, power stations, hospitals, schools, right? So every country wanted their own airport, roads, seaport, right? Everything. So with the oil, a lot of people came to the country. Like British, American, German, French guys, right? Uh, and mostly the European guys. They came to the country and then started getting the benefits from the oil money, right? Uh, right. So they started getting the benefit of the oil money. And when the rulers wanted those people, because they didn't have the infrastructure, they didn't have the know-how, they didn't have engineering knowledge or anything. So they gave construction and all those things to those foreigners. And they started pumping the money out of that country to their countries, and without getting involved in a serious manner to do this construction work. Most of the people, they took money from the rulers and to set up, to build schools, right? Airports, hospitals. Halfway through, they vanish. But then only some banks, like those days they had British Bank of Middle East. They said Bank Britannia, British Bank of Middle East. That's subsidiary of HSBC Group. HSBC Group, British Bank of the Middle East, BBMU, right? So they introduced these guarantee systems, bank guarantee systems, to the rulers and the banks. Right? They had very few banks at that time, early 60s. And then by having this bank guarantees, when they award the tenders to those sort of companies, they ask for a bank guarantee from the customers' own banks, right? Like as a little while ago, you were answering my questions as a surety or a security for the construction work which they have undertaken. All right? Okay. So by that way, the Arab rulers, they try to sort out the issues without burning their fingers, and money wasted. Right? So that was one of the things, if you talk about the history of bank guarantees. But that means even before 1960s, 1950s, the bank guarantees were one of the instruments or tools in banking industry. It was there, but the boom started after the oil boom in the Middle East countries. Okay. In today's globalized economy, everything what we do, it's based or backed by a bank guarantee. It's hard to imagine any business around the world without a bank guarantee. It's so popular, right? And it says it is estimated aggregate value of guarantees is in the range of hundreds of billions of US dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions US dollars, covering the obligations in all sectors of trade and industry, including construction, commercial lending, corporate restructuring, or structured finance all around the world. Right? And the bank guarantee is not an innovative instrument. It has been on the market for decades. It is one of the so-called traditional banking products. Right? This is exactly the reason why now we all know it's a time of financial and economic crisis in the world because of COVID-19 and all those things. There is a financial and economic crisis in the world, right? This instrument is more successful than ever because whatever the construction we do, whatever the imports we do, whatever the exports we do, sometimes we need a guarantee. So bank guarantees are the best instrument we can think of. The global markets are very nervous and everybody aims at security, even for a small amount and short tenor businesses. Even a 3 months, 4 months business, they will request you a bank guarantee, right? So that's the main reason why the bank guarantees, the number of bank guarantees are increasing. The numbers are increasing every year, right? Because most of the countries in all over the region, all over the regions, if I say, right, in the world, they all are in trouble, and they want to safeguard their financials. Then, for example, if I want to elaborate on how the bank guarantees are performing, right? Now, especially bank guarantees are very popular in construction field, construction industry, because the construction projects are complex and high risk, right? And complexity is inherent in construction industry. Always, it's so much of complex, and complexity is very, very common in construction field, right? And we know by its very nature, construction means a manufacturing process, starting to end. So during that processing period, anything can happen, right? So there are predictable issues. Some of the issues are in a construction industry. If we talk about some of the issues, physical risk, that is weather, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, like that, which we can't control, right? But the damages can be immense. Then labor risk. What do you mean by labor risk? The people who are working in sites, construction industry is very common. Then some people will start, go on strikes, work to rule, riots, all sort of things can happen. Then human risk, corruption, vandalism, theft, job site safety, right? Then the design and technology risk, materials, process. Sometimes they will not do it according to the designs. They will not use the correct materials, right? When we put a concrete, there's a doing the mixture, they said 2 to 4 to 5 or something, right? Two portions of cement and 4 portions of sand, like that, right? But if you, instead of putting 2 portions, if you put 1 portion, then it is a technology risk, right? The construction is, it won't be a solid one, right? Then supply and transport risk, material shortages, delivery delays, right? If you don't supply the thing on the due date, you have to keep on paying the laborers without doing any job, right? So those risks are there. Then regulatory, financial and political risk, always, right? The most important thing is contractor insolvency and default. Anything can happen. So when it comes to construction industry, always we are asking for bank guarantees. And when you are in the banks, I think you must be familiar, right, with the bank guarantees. Majority of the bank guarantees what we are getting, the request we are getting are for construction field, right? Now, Loka, Maga, then what else? Construction companies. But the Matagat. Now, look, Maga,
Access.
huh?
Access.
Access, right? There are so many construction companies, and we are getting a lot of money by issuing bank guarantees, right? Right. Bonds and guarantees are a common feature in many capital and construction projects, as well as in the contract for supply of goods. Even supply of goods, how? How supply of goods? How bank guarantees get involved? Can How is that? Supply of goods. Think. Make it make it a discussion forum, right? For the supply of goods.
As an importer, when you don't, as an importer, when you don't, as an importer, original documents to
Yes.
process a custom clearance, can bank guarantee.
Can guarantee. Always, nah. If
Yes,
you
when you
open
don't
LC,
have sufficient documents to proceed with the custom clearance, then we go for the bank guarantee.
Yeah, that's the no, that's the extraordinary one you are talking, right? That's the extraordinary one. But yes, in one of the payment methods, we need bank guarantees. We are going to do it on and on. What is that payment method? How many payment methods we learned?
4.
How many payment
4.
methods? 4. Good. Taking කොයි එකද අපිට bank guarantees උඩ යන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ?
Advance
LCs.
payment more than 50,000.
Advance payment more than 6,000. යන්නේ මේ extraordinary වටම යන්නේ. අර අපි ෂූටි කාලේ සෙල්ලම් කරන්නේ නේද?
LC.
ඇස් එක වහලා අර කියන්නේ hot කියනවා cold කියනවා මොනවද දෙයක් හංගලා ඒ වගේ තමයි ඔයගොල්ලොත් යන්නේ. දැන් මට කියන්න වෙන්නේ cold, a little bit hot. අන්න එහෙම තමයි යන්න වෙන්නේ. මොකද්ද?
LC.
Documentary credit.
LCs වලට LCs, when you open LCs, tell me an instance where you are always asking for a bank guarantee.
If there's a part payment
Yes,
involved
yes.
and the part payment exceeds 50,000.
Again, you are going back to advance payment 50,000 right? එතකොට bank guarantee එකක් ගන්න වෙනවා වෙනම කව කරගන්න. There's another payment method which you can do the transaction without a LC, without going through URC522 as collection. But always there's a risk to the exporter. What is that?
Open account.
Open account. The open account field, right? We have the buyer and we have the seller. Seller will send the goods to us. We will get the goods and then buyer will do the payment. Buyer will do the payment. Now this is how it is happening. And between the buyer and the seller, they have a very good relationship. So because of the relationship, they do it. But once they receive the goods, if they have not paid the money, if they were trying to cheat these people, then who is getting affected?
Seller.
Then who is getting affected? If the buyer cheated the seller, the Tridira Mangahani.
Seller.
Yeah, seller is getting affected because he has lost the control over the goods. Goods have already gone to the buyer, and now the buyer is trying to cheat him without sending the money. Right? So in a scenario like that, if we can do the entire transactions on open account, covered by a bank guarantee, covered by a bank guarantee. Right? For example, every month these guys are sending goods worth of US $50,000. $50,000 worth of goods they are sending. Right? And then these people will keep on sending the money. But any given time, if this guy is trying to cheat them, have a bank, and if he can have an underlying bank guarantee or US 50,000, at least we can claim the money through that particular bank. Right? So it's very important why we are using these bank guarantees in international trade. So they are issued to, the bank guarantees are issued to the buyers. Right? Buyers on behalf of the exporters or contractors. On behalf of the exporters or contractors. Because sometimes they can ask you the questions without mentioning contractors. They will mention exporters. The same thing. And these bank guarantees are issued by banks or insurance companies. Not only the banks, even the insurance companies, they issue since it's a financial guarantee, even the insurance companies, they issue bank guarantees, right? Then also shipping guarantees issued by the bank. If we receive the goods without the documents, before we receive the documents, then we can get these goods released from the port with a shipping guarantee. So it's another form of a guarantee, right? Then use of guarantees in different business sectors. One is construction field, pharmaceuticals. In manufacturing pharmaceuticals, selling pharmaceuticals, various ways. Telecommunication. How telecommunication? Dialogue, Haj, Mobitel. So when they start businesses in Sri Lanka, to utilize the government infrastructure, sometimes they'll have to give a bank guarantee, and because they have to pay money. So without paying money, they will go on doing the thing, and then if there's a claim or something, it will be honored by the bank. Then power projects, various power projects. Recently we had this Norachula power plant. Right? So that was also covered by certain bank guarantees, by Exim Bank in China. Then financial guarantees. What do you mean by financial guarantees? Financial guarantees. Financial guarantee is that we are giving the undertaking for a bank on behalf of a customer to grant him certain banking facilities. So I'll try to explain it with an example. So if I am okay, I'll take myself as an example. When I was working for HSBC, I was based in Dubai, and I didn't want to send my money to Colombo, so I was not sure whether these people will start implement taxes on NRC account and all. There were rumors. Even now we are having these rumors, right? So most of the people, they used to send money to tax haven countries, right? Tax haven countries. Then no taxes. And they keep the money in their accounts. We open accounts and they keep the money in their accounts. Right? Okay. Then I decided to come back to Sri Lanka. Now, when I came back to Sri Lanka, now after a few months, I want to start a business. If I want to start a business, then I had to get some banking facilities from a bank. So I have, then just imagine, then I go to HSBC, Colombo, and I tell them, okay, I need a facility of 100 million rupees to open LCs, to open bank guarantees, my OD, working capital. I need about 100 million package. What is the first question the bank will ask me? What is the first question the bank will ask me?
Income.
Or you will ask the customer. You all are bank customer.
Income.
And everything.
Income, monthly income.
What is my income? Income come penna. Right? Or else now I don't have a job. I don't have an income anymore. Then
what are the securities you have?
what are the
What are the securities you have?
Huh?
Securities.
Securities are accurate.
Yes.
Yes. What are the securities you can offer? That's correct. That's the question the bank will ask me. What are securities you can? Then what are securities you are having? Now I have come to Sri Lanka after 10, 15 years. I don't have any securities. Right? So what are the security I can keep? Can't. Pardon?
Your deposits?
My deposits where?
The bank?
Magi mehe deposit මොකද? මොකද කරන්නේ? The first thing they will ask me is what is security you can keep, right? So I will tell them, no, I don't have any money here, but I have my money in HSBC, Channel Islands. HSBC Channel Islands branch, I am having my money. Then they will tell me, okay, can you get us a bank guarantee from HSBC Channel Islands? That I can arrange, right? So HSBC Channel Islands will issue a bank guarantee. They will issue a bank guarantee. And they will instruct HSBC Colombo or NDB Bank or whatever bank or DFCC or whatever, right? They will instruct, okay, we are holding so much of dollars, US dollars, 300,000 US dollars, 300,000 we are holding under this guy's name, right? And we have been requested to issue a bank guarantee. Yes, we are going to issue a bank guarantee favoring HSBC Colombo, and in that letter we will request HSBC Colombo to support my request and give me the whatever the total facilities, right? So those are financial guarantees. And if I pay, this guarantee will be there for about 3-4 years. Once I settle the loans, once I settle everything, then I will be absolved from the liability. Until then, I'm having my money under lien. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then government infrastructure. When we are doing the government infrastructure, always the bank guarantees are coming to the forefront. Right? Extraction and mining, that industry also, always we very not random, we always ask for bank guarantees, especially in mining industries, right? Okay. Now we'll say, what is the definition of a bank guarantee? Definition of a bank guarantee. I'll read this out. A demand guarantee or guarantee means any signed undertaking, however named or described, providing for payment on presentation of a compliant demand. On presentation of a compliant demand. Demand means a signed document by the beneficiary demanding payment under a guarantee. Demand means a signed document by the beneficiary demanding payment under a guarantee. So we issue a bank guarantee on a construction firm, and there were some missteps, and now they are calling you, calling a bank and ask you to pay under these bank guarantees, which was issued by you about 6 months back. Can you do that? Can you do that? He gives a call to the bank, either your big boss, MD, maybe a friend of MD, and asks you to demanding the payment under the bank guarantee. Can we pay if they give a telephone call?
No.
No,
No?
not on a
No.
call.
Not on a call. Then
It has to be a signed
Agreement.
agreement.
demand should be a signed document. Demand should be a signed document by the beneficiary. Demanding payment under a guarantee. They have to mention the guarantee number and everything, and it has to be a signed demand, basically. Right? Otherwise, if you call them and demanding the money, you can't remit the money.
So at this time, does the applicant have a say? Do we need to check with the applicant?
Good question. What do you think about it?
We have to inform the applicant that the beneficiary is demanding for the payment, but we as per the contract, we have to pay to the beneficiary. We are liable to pay to the beneficiary.
Okay, very good. Very good. In that case, why we are asking the applicant?
We are not actually asking the applicant, but we have to inform the applicant, since if there is a underlying contract between them, and if there is any dispute, they can sort it out. But it is because we have to debit their account, we have to inform the applicant that we are paying and we are bound to pay, and because of that we are paying.
Good. What's your name, Pradhan?
I am Isuru, sir.
Isuru from?
Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank. Isuru is perfectly correct. Perfect. It's a perfect answer. We have to inform the applicant, but we don't want to get the approval from the applicant. Right? But for the courtesy sake, we will inform. And now it is very clearly mentioned in the URDG 758 also. You can inform, but under the demand guarantee, if it's a demand guarantee, then on demand you have to pay. On demand you have to pay. Right? Any other clarification you need? Because the guarantees are on demand. Any other things? Okay. Then we'll see who are the parties to a guarantee. Who are the parties to a guarantee? One is the applicant. Applicant is one party. Applicant means it can be a supplier, that's an exporter, right? A seller, contractor, or a debtor. Now, when it comes to a construction field, most of the contractors, when they have been asked to do, before they offer the job, they are asked to submit a guarantee or a bond. A bond or a guarantee, right? So, those people are the applicants. They are come to the bank and they'll request from us, okay, we need a bank guarantee favoring so and so for this amount, and these are the conditions, and please issue us a bank guarantee. So they are the applicant. Then the beneficiary. Beneficiary can be the buyer, the employer, or a creditor. Right? Guarantor is the issuing bank. Guarantor is the issuing bank. Then the counter guarantor. Who is the counter guarantor?
Counter guarantor is most of the time a bank requesting us or the local bank to issue a guarantee on behalf of them against the counter guarantee.
Good. So what is the security in this regard?
Not very sure, sir.
Huh? What is the
Not quite
security?
sure.
Huh?
Security is the bank gives the security, or the undertaking by that bank, or is it
No,
like that?
the guarantor, the issuing bank, DFCC, will issue. Your customer comes to you, and he will ask you, "I need a bank guarantee." So you are the one who is going to issue the guarantee, and you are the guarantor. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you will ask me, "What is my security?" He will say, "Sorry, I don't have any security to keep with you, but I can get you a counter guarantee from one of the banks in China or Singapore."
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that is the counter guarantee. Counter guarantee is the security for us. We don't want any other security. The counter guarantee itself is a good security.
Security.
Right? But whether we are going to accept it or not is a different question. Then again we'll have to see the bank standing and whether it's active and all those things. Then only we will issue the bank guarantee. So the applicant is a person entity which makes a request to issue a guarantee, which is based on their contractual obligations. Right? Will the guarantor. The guarantor is a bank which is called upon to issue the guarantee at the request of the applicant to the beneficiary. Right? Guarantor is a bank which is called upon to issue the guarantee. The guarantor is under the primary obligations to make the payment to the beneficiary on first demand in the event of a default of the obligations or non-fulfillment of the contractual obligations. Right? In simple, what can we say? The guarantor is a bank which is called upon to issue the guarantee at the request of the applicant to the beneficiary. Right? And if there's a claim comes, who has a primary obligation to pay the claim?
The guarantor.
The guarantor. Good. Right? Then the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the entity, person, in whose favor the guarantee is required to be issued. It is such entity which makes a request for a guarantee under varying circumstances, depending on the event, thereby protecting themselves by a monetary gain in the event of a default or non-fulfillment of the contractual obligations. If everything goes off well, then there won't be any problem. But if there's any default or anything, then we can claim on the bank guarantee. Then we can claim on the bank guarantee. Right? මෙහෙම ඇහුවොත් එම question එක. We have a Sri Lankan in Colombo dockyard. Colombo dockyard has requested for a bank guarantee. Colombo dockyard. They are the applicant. The bank is BOC. Bank is BOC. Beneficiary Dubai ports. Dubai ports. Right? We say amount. US dollars. US dollars. 2 million. US dollars 2 million. Right? Now, in this particular one, Colombo Dockyard, the other people who are going to bid for this contract, right? So then the beneficiary is Dubai Port. They will come and tell us, no way you can submit your bid, right? It has to be supported with a bank guarantee. Supported with a bank guarantee. And for that, we need about 5% of the value. 5% of this sum. Right? Make a 5% now. So, which is the bank guarantee. Then they go. Right? And sometimes this Dubai ports, they are the beneficiary. They didn't want to get a bank guarantee from Bank of Stone. Bank of Stone now. So they got the Bank of Stone guarantees only going to gun now. But other than check out the bank at my Patagara unknown bank, right? Unknown bank at start කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා. අනේ වගේ එකක් අපි තුමු unknown bank එකක් කියලා. ඕන්න මේවත් ගමු. About then about 5 years back, bank is Cargill's Bank. 5 years back, relatively a new bank. The beneficiary Dubai Bank, Dubai ports, they will say, sorry, we don't know who are they. So we need a bank guarantee issued by one of the banks in our country. Because if there's a claim, then we'll have to claim from Cargill's Bank. We don't know whether they will pay us or not, right? Then, because of that, we prefer to have the guarantee issued by a bank domiciled in our country. Domiciled in our country. So they will say, okay, then SCB Colombo, SCB Dubai. SCB Dubai will issue a bank guarantee based on the counter guarantee given by Cargill's Bank. Counter guarantee given by Cargill's Bank. Cargill's Bank will cover the entire exposure. And the guarantee will be issued by SCB Dubai and given to beneficiary Dubai ports. The Dubai ports are happy because they have got the guarantee issued by the local guys. Right? If something goes wrong, they can go to SCB Dubai and ask for the money. Right? So basically now we know what the parties to bank guarantee. And another one is the independence of bank guarantees. Right? A basic feature of the modern guarantee is its independence from the underlying relationship. This means that the payment obligations of the guarantor is solely determined by reference to the conditions of a payment as specified in the guarantee and regardless of any defense under the underlying relationship. What I mean by that? The basic feature of the modern guarantee is independence from the underlying relationship. Underlying relationship We don't care between the buyer and the seller, right? It's independence from the underlying relationship. This means that the payment obligation of the guarantor is solely determined by reference to the conditions of payment and nothing else, right? In banking, the use of guarantees and its risk should be clearly understood by the bankers involved in making credit decisions. This is a high-risk instrument, and at the same time, it is also highly profitable. Highly profitable. This is completely different from the guarantees we obtain from various individuals, firms, and corporate entities to secure our exposures. The standby letter of credit also falls under this category. Even the standby letter of credit is the same thing. Standby letter of credit means just like a guarantee, demand guarantee, right? If they get a claim, they will pay, right? Guarantee on first demand. Guarantee on first demand. Guarantee on first demand are widely used in international trade and local trade. Api bank issue karaddi, I think now you can recollect your memories. Dagan komari ekalaman guarantees ruling. 90% of the guarantees are demand guarantees. Am I correct? 90% demand guarantees. Guarantees karna kattiya mata kare. Because on demand, first demand we have to pay, right? Especially in most of the local guarantees we issued for many institutions, CWV, KK companies, government organizations, issue karna, right? They are payable on first demand, and the bank cannot and have no rights whatsoever to refuse or postpone the payment. Payment එකක් refuse කරන්න බෑ. Payment එකක් delay කරන්නත් බෑ. එහෙමනම් කරන්න වෙනවා නම් මොනවද කරන්න ඕන අපි? Payment එක delay කරන්න ඕන නම් මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ?
Message එකකින් කියන්නේ
Message එකකින් කියන්න ඕන. Message එකකින් කියලා කිව්වොත් එහෙම අපිට උසාවියන්න යනවා. අපිට පුළුවන් ද message එකකින් කියලා payment එක delay කරන්න? Only one remedy action. මොකද? If there's a dispute, my customer will come and tell us, okay, don't pay. Either can we stay without paying? Or are we to pay? Or are we to pay?
We have to pay.
Huh?
We have to get the
දෙපාර මොකක්ද යන්නේ? දැන් ආවෝ. You have to get what?
claim withdrawal letter from applicant to refuse the same.
Sorry, my dear. Withdrawal letter. ආවෙ නෑ උත්තරේ. If we don't want to pay, what we have to do?
Injunction order එකක් ගන්න.
Huh?
Injunction order එකක් ගන්න.
Good. ඒක නිකන් ඔය පොට්ටේ ගැහුවේ නේ.
නෑ.
උත්තරේ හරි. උත්තරේ හරි. We can get an injunction order. We can ask the customer. The customer will come and tell us, okay, so don't pay. I have done my job properly. So this is all wrong. Don't pay. Can we stay without paying? No. Then we'll have to ask your customer to bring an injunction order. But getting an injunction order is not so easy nowadays. Yes, when about 30 years back when we were doing trade, yes, that was a very easy thing. But thanks to, I think, if I'm correct, that was Mrs. Chandrika Kumarthanga's period as a president. මතන පළවෙනි පාර එනකොටම ඒ කියන්නේ 90s වල late 90s වල she introduced this one and asked the courts, I mean they have to critically decide whether they can issue an injunction or not. Right? If නැතුව ඉස්සර නම් ගියා house of එකට injunction එකක් ගත්තා ආවා. දැන් බෑ එහෙම. දැන් සැහැම ඒක check කරනවා. If we are trying to misuse the facility, then they can come behind us. Right? The bank is obliged to pay the beneficiary on first demand after having examined the provisions of the guarantee and its validity. Right? The bank is obliged to pay the beneficiary on first demand after having examined the provisions of the guarantee and its validity, etc. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Having examined the provisions of the guarantee, its validity, etc. මේ නවත්ත යන්නේ ටිකක් ඔයගලගෙන් ෆීඩ්බැක් එකක් ගන්න. Your practical areas, right? Now, when we issue a guarantee, we put certain clauses, claiming clauses. So we'll see whether this claiming, whether those people have claimed according to the conditions. And the other one is the validity of the guarantee. If it is already expired and all, then can we honor a claim? Can we honor a claim?
No.
No, sir.
No, you can't. Right? So those things you have to read and understand. Then you see types of guarantees. Right? There are two types of guarantees. One is direct guarantee, other one is indirect guarantee. One is direct guarantee, other one is indirect guarantee. Right? Then we'll see what are the direct guarantees. This is direct guarantee. You have the guarantor or the issuing bank. The applicant will go to his bank and give instructions to the guarantor or the issuing bank to issue a guarantee favoring beneficiary, which is one of the China corporations, right? Issuing a bank guarantee. So they will issue the guarantee and the beneficiary will collect the guarantee. Okay? Are there anything you have to ask? Then there's another type of direct guarantees, right? Instead of getting the guarantee direct from the guarantor, instead of getting the guarantee direct from the guarantor, they will ask the beneficiary's bank. The beneficiary is more comfortable if his own bank has issued the guarantee, right? But here there's no counter guarantees or anything. So what we will do is the applicant will go to the issuing bank guarantor and they will issue the guarantee to the beneficiary, but they will request that particular bank, we call it advising bank, like the LC, to hand over the guarantee to the beneficiary, not reissue. Hand over the guarantee to the beneficiary without any risk and responsibility on their part. Without any risk or responsibility on their part. Advising bank is a responsibility. They are just advising the guarantee to the beneficiary. Clear? Clear the another. Right. Then comes the indirect guarantee. Indirect guarantee is something like we take, for example, Norachole power plant, Candy Highway. We'll take Candy Highway. Candy Highway done by which company? Because the company Rate number one the firm got the firm again. German the Russian the Norway the UK the Mogad. Up Candy Highway Kahadani. Right. Chinese company Chinese company. Now who is the beneficiary here? Who is the beneficiary of this project?
The government?
Pardon?
The government, our government?
Our government, right? Our government, Road Development Authority, RDA of our government, right? So the beneficiary is our government. Now when it comes to this China, applicant will be the Chinese company, right? And their bank is Exim Bank. Their bank is Exim Bank in Beijing. So they will ask their bank to issue a bank guarantee to RDA, the beneficiary. But the beneficiary doesn't want a guarantee from a Chinese bank. He will say, I am more comfortable with a guarantee issued by one of my banks domiciled in Colombo. So what is happening is the applicant will request, give instructions to the Exim Bank, their bank in China, to issue a bank guarantee, and they cover, the applicant will cover whatever the exposure, and he will give security to the counter guarantor, the Exim Bank. So based on the security, Exim Bank will issue a bank guarantee and advise to the if you say People's Bank, advise to People's Bank. People's Bank. RD accounts in government banks only. People's Bank is that okay. Ever know. The People's Bank will issue the bank guarantee. Not the Exim Bank. People's Bank will issue the bank guarantee. But the security was the counter guarantee from Exim Bank. Exim Bank will undertake, okay, if there's a claim without any disputes or without any discussions, we will pay. Right? Is it clear? Then the counter guarantor is the Chinese bank. Any issues? Again. Indirect guarantee. Then you see claim under an indirect guarantee. Claim under an indirect guarantee. How we are going to do the claim? Right now, based on the applicant, the counter guarantor has given a counter guarantee, and the guarantor, People's Bank, will issue the guarantee to RDA. Now, the applicant, he has not performed his job properly. So because of that, the beneficiary, the government of Sri Lanka, right, they will put their claim, or they will submit their claim to the guarantor. Yes, they will submit their claim to the guarantor. Then the guarantor will, number two, will claim payment from the counter guarantee against the counter guarantee. Right? So the moment the counter guarantor or the Exim Bank receives that email, they will do the payment. They will reimburse the issuing bank. They will reimburse the issuing bank, and they will debit applicant. They will debit applicant and issue the bank. Right? They will send the money to the guarantor, reimbursing issuing bank. Right? Then they will pay the money to the beneficiary. Clear? Arrows tick band, either direct lathnegila 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please go through it. 30 seconds. I'll give you 30 seconds. Right? Claim under an indirect guarantee. This is why we are always insisting, when you are getting a counter guarantee, you have to check the bank risk and the country risk and the standing and everything of the counter guarantor. Otherwise, People's Bank, if they have received a counter guarantee from a bank, unknown bank, or a bank, banking already a bank like Sanasa Development. Even at the blood bank, hari kamanne. Is bank gani? Right? It's got a eva geva. We have to check the bank risk, country risk, right? who are the applicants, everything what we have to check, right? Without checking all those things, we will never issue a bank guarantee. Okay. Then the security for a bank guarantee. Security for a bank guarantee. The guarantee constitutes a major credit risk. Hence, generally the banks call for strong security. Right? They always call for good security, strong security. Generally, marketable securities are preferred. Generally, marketable securities are preferred. දැන් ඉඩම් අරන් තියාගෙන ඉන්න වැඩක් නැහැ. ඇයි ඉඩම් වැඩක් නැත්තේ? What's the reason? Reason. On demand guarantee එකවත් කොහොමද යන්නේ? On demand guarantee. You have to pay immediately, right? අපිට ඉඩමක් අපිට තියාගෙන ඉඳලා security තියාගෙන ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒවා විකුණන්න for sale values ඔක්කොම තියාගෙන කල් යනවා. එහෙම බෑ. If it is on demand, we have to settle it on demand. You can't delay, right? That's why generally marketable securities are preferred. But cash තමයි මේ ගන්න. However, the integrity of the principal plays a major role in determining the risk involved. Also, the business reputation of the applicant, in addition to the experience, competencies. However, the integrity of the principal. Who is the principal? Who is the principal? මෙතන principal කියලා කියන කාටද? Is it the applicant or the beneficiary?
Beneficiary?
Huh? Hello?
Beneficiary?
Beneficiary. No, beneficiary principal ලියුනේ මොකේද? Beneficiary principal ලියුනේ මොකේද? Collection එකේ. මෙතන principal කියලා කියන්නේ applicant. Right? මෙතන the principal කියන්නේ applicant. We'll have to the integrity of the principal plays a major role in determining the risk in. සමහරවිට හොඳම customer කෙනෙක් customers ලා ඉන්නවා. We are not collecting what do you call this margin or anything. No, customer හොඳ නම් අපි දෙනවා. Right? The banks may issue guarantees in high risk situations, provided such guarantees are covered by 100% cash security. Right? The banks may issue guarantees in high risk situations, provided such guarantees are covered by 100% cash security. Right? Without a 100% cash security, we will not issue high risk guarantees. Right? Yes. Once we issue, it's an irrevocable undertaking given by the bank. Irrevocable undertaking given by the bank. So it's very, very important. Types of security for bank guarantee. Types of security for a bank guarantee. Third-party guarantees. Or counter guarantee by a third-party financial institution. Right? Then the cash margin. Cash build-ups. Cash build-ups. Shall we discuss about cash build-ups?
Yes, sir.
Kianban? Cash margin, of course, you know, What do you mean by cash build-ups? I need your intervention, right? We'll see on open account transaction. Then basically, the make would argue then what a cash build-up කරන්න හැටි කියන්න බෑ. Because sometimes your customers may not having 100% cash margin. They will say, I'll keep 50% cash as security. 50% cash as security. ඒ වගේ සිටුේෂන් එකේදී අපි මේක දෙන්න යනවාද? We'll say good customer. Good customer. එතකොට අපි මේක දෙනවාද?
Balance 50%. We will offer a weekly build up for balance 50% or something.
Good thinking. Then we'll say, if he's a good customer, if I have to take the decision, I will say, okay, 50% cash margin, you keep cash, right? And the full amount is rupees 10 million, rupees 10 billion guarantee, right? Then 5 million he will keep as cash margin, right? And the open account transaction, so I can request him every week or every other transaction, every transaction, 10% cash build up, right? If the transaction is rupees 1 million, 10%, then 100,000 cash build up. I'm only asking a percentage. Then the second transaction is rupees 500,000. Rupees 500,000. Then my cash build up another 50,000 will get added up. So altogether 150,000. Likewise, you keep on adding the building the cash build up, right? So over a period of time, very good cover security. Then the shares. Cash build up, the people in the department. These are the things you can suggest a customer, right? And suggest your managers also. If the customer is good, why can't we do like this? Are you doing making cash build-ups? Right. Then shares. Cash build-up in a Tawaikat. And another good thing, very easily we can sell this product to the customer. Because this money will be in the name of, it will be deposited under the customer's name. But he can't withdraw, right? He can't withdraw. It will be under, if you put it to a savings account, then he will get interest also. So he is not losing anything. We are requesting him to save that money. One fine day, he can take the money out, right? Right. Then shares also, we can keep it as a security. Then surrender value of the life policies. Surrender value of the life policies. Another security, right? Then assignments over the underlying contracts. Assignments over the underlying contracts. sometimes if the underlying contract, we can assign to the bank as a security, right? Mortgage over immovable properties. Mortgage over immovable properties. But you keep it as a last, must make an mistake, eh? These are not very good ones. The assignment of both the underlying contracts and the mortgage over immovable properties for big customers, for large facilities, so it's okay, right? But for small timers, always go for cash margins or cash build-ups, right? Okay. Right. Then the most frequently used guarantees in trade. Before we discuss that, shall we take a small break? From morning I'm talking, 10 minutes, right? Have a cup of tea and come back. 3:10 වෙනකොට මට ඔගොල්ලෝ මෙතෙන්ට join වෙන්න. 3:10 වෙනකොට. Right? Where we have stopped, most frequently used guarantees in trade, right? These are the common guarantees that normally you get from your customers to issue, and those are the ones related to trade finance in the banks. One is bid bonds. First, I'll go through the guarantees, and then we'll discuss one by one. Bid bonds, that is tender guarantees. We call it tender bonds or tender guarantees, right? Then performance guarantee, performance bonds. Bonds and guarantees, same meaning. Then advance payment guarantees, stage payment bonds. Retention bonds, custom guarantees, not issued by DGC, custom guarantees issued to DGC. Then other type of guarantees, overdraft or loan guarantees, we call it financial guarantees, and counter guarantees. Right? Those are the most frequently used guarantees in trade. And standby letter of credit is also a sort of a guarantee. I think I have explained this to you when we were discussing about types of credit. So I don't want to go into details again, but standby letter of credit is also very much similar to bank guarantees. So if it is very, very much similar to bank guarantees, why we are having two different products, standby letter of credit and bank guarantees? What's the reason? What's the reason? Right? In both the credit, they are credit instruments and functionally very, very much similar. Why this standby letter of credit? Why not the bank guarantees? Any reason? We discussed about this reason.
Standby
Yes.
letter of credit governed letter of credit governed by UCP 600.
Standby letter of credit governed by UCP 600 as well as
ISP 90.
ISP 98. ISP 98. International Standby Practices 1998. Right? Then why some countries are using standby letter of credit? Why some countries are using bank guarantees? In Sri Lanka, what are we using? Bank guarantees or standby letter of credit?
We use bank guarantees.
We use bank guarantees. We use bank guarantees. Even most of the countries like Middle East countries, Singapore, and most of the countries, they use bank guarantees. But countries like USA, they are not using bank guarantees because in their law, USA law, bank guarantees are not covered. They always want to have standby letter of credit, not the bank guarantees, right? Some of the European countries also, now they go for standby letter of credit, right? Otherwise, there's no big thing because even bank guarantees are governed by certain rules and regulation issued by ICC. What are they? Bank guarantees are covered by ICC regulation URDG 758. The present one is URDG 758, right? Okay. Then bid bond. Now this is called as tender guarantees also, right? Okay. Now, for example, if you think CWE, right? CWE wants to import some Mysore dal. So they have opened they are calling for tenders from the traders, the importers, right? To supply 100,000 tons, 100,000 tons of Mysore dal, right? So when they call the tenders, right? For example, I will an example A, B, C, D, E. The 5 people have put their tenders, their bids. We call it bid. Right? So A is quoting the market price. If you say market price of Mysore dal is about US dollars 300 for a ton. US dollars 300 a ton. Right? Now A is quoting in US dollars. He will say, I can get 1 ton at 295 US dollars per ton. Right? The B is quoting 304. C is calling, he is giving the offer 298 US dollars per ton. Right? D is giving 270 US dollars a ton. E is quoting 290 per ton. In this one, now after they collect the bids, after the bid closing date, a special committee, a procurement committee, will go through the bids and then they decide what is the best offer they have got and to whom they have to they are willing to give the job or the contract. Right? In this one, if you are in the committee, which customer you will select?
D.
D.
Hmm? D. Any other answers? Any other answers? No. Right. One said D. Why you said D? Market price is 300. And these people have quoted 270. That's damn cheap. Right? Why the market price 300? The people knows that the good quality ones will be average US dollars 300 per ton. Right? 270 කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම CW ගේ බලවම ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගියාම තියෙන්නේ පරිප්පු වලට තියෙන කළු වැට දෙනව නේද? දැන් 270 වලට හම්බෙන්නේ කළු වැට වලට පරිප්පු දාලා. කීල්ස් කාගිල්ස් වගේ ඒවා බලනකොට ඒවා ලස්සනට තියෙනවා. අර වගේ කළු වැට එහෙම නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ අර 300 per ton යන්නේවා. right? ඕකේ ඔය විදිහට තමයි අපිට ජජ්මන්ට් එක ගන්න වෙන්නේ. 270 කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම දෙන්න පුළුවන් දුන්නාට පස්සේ අර ගල් වැලිත් එක්ක හාල් දෙනවා වගේ තමයි. right? ඒක දන්නවා මේ tender committees ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා. ඒකෙන් අපි හිතමු මේක තීරුවේ නැහැ කියලා. even though it's the lowest one. එහෙමනම් අපි කාම මේක කොයි එකද අපි තෝරගන්නේ? හොඳ එකක් කියලා. E is also good. E is also good. 290. Or then they will go for A, 295. Right? So between these two, they will select a good one. Right? They will select the companies and okay. For this example, we think they have given the offer to E. But all these people, when they are bidding, when they have put their tender documents, with the tender documents, they have to submit a bid bond. Normally, the bid bond is 2 to 5%, 2 to 5%, 2% to 5% of the value of the bid, right? 2 to 5% of the contract value. And then all these people have submitted a bid bond from a bank to support their bid. And when they received, when they have given the job to E, then the contractor or the supplier will be requested to submit a performance bond. Until now, we don't know whether he's going to perform or not. Now we have selected, and now we are asking them to submit a performance bond. At this particular point, right, if these people have, if E has failed to submit a performance bond, what is going to happen? The bid bond he has submitted, that is between 2 to 5%, if we say 5%, the bid bond will be confiscated. They will not give back the deal, right? The money will be confiscated. So they will call the bank and they will demand the bank to pay on this particular bid bond, right? And then they will go for the Next one. Okay, the next one is A. Either they will recall the bids or they will give the chance to the closest one. Right? Okay, if this guy is prepared to submit the performance bond, then the job will be given to him. And what is going to happen to the bid bonds of these 4 people? What is going to happen to these bid bonds of these 4 people? Will they get the money back or not? These are practical things.
Yes, they'll return.
Hmm?
They will return.
It will be returned to the beneficiary or the bank,
Thank you.
either to guarantor or the beneficiary. Right? Once the guarantor receives the original guarantee, we will cancel the guarantee and refund the money to the respective customers. Right? Refund the money to the respective customers. That's how it is happening. And meanwhile, we will request E to submit the performance bond. Any questions? Right? When a performance bond is a written guarantee from a third party guarantor, usually a bank, submitted to an employer or beneficiary or the contractor applicant on the winning bid. On winning the bid. The performance bond ensures payment of a sum not exceeding a stated maximum of money in case of the contractor fails in the full performance of the contract. It usually ranges from 5% to 10% or 15% of the contract value. Right? Performance bonds replace the bid bonds on award of the contract. Now, again, we'll go back to the bid bonds we are holding. Now, we will return the bid bonds of these 4, but not the bid bond of E. But we are going to refund that money or to return the bid bond upon submitting the performance bond by this guy, E. Once he submit the performance bond, then only we will be releasing the bid bond which he has submitted with the bid or the tender. Right? And that is how it is working. What do you mean by performance bond? When it comes to the performance bond, then those people will lay out all the details. CW will say, we need of this category, we need certain inspection certificates and all those things. So these people have to perform according to that standards. Right? So for that also, we have to keep a performance bond of 5 to 15% of the value of the contract. Right? The advance payment guarantee. What do you mean by advance payment guarantee? A guarantee issued by a bank guarantor on behalf of a seller or the applicant to a buyer, right, or a beneficiary in relation to any advance payments that is made by the buyer to the seller to allow the contract to commence. Now, if it is a contract like this, sometimes if you want to open the LCs and all those things, and if the bank is asking you to keep a margin or something, then you can ask the other parties, okay, to give me an advance payment, and for that we will issue an advance payment guarantee. On this same way, if it's a construction contract, then we can ask for an advance from the principal, not the principal, the beneficiary. We can ask for an advance payment from the beneficiary, a part payment or advance payment, 5% of the or 10% of the contract value, give us as an advance payment. For that, we'll give a bank guarantee. Right? If the contract is not completed, the buyer can claim reimbursement of the advance payment under the guarantee from the bank. Right? It may contain reduction clauses which enable a reduction in the maximum amount upon evidence of progressive performance. A progressive performance is mandakala thiyena godak bank wala api mang samana companies wala we'll have to give the progressive performance. They have to submit a stage progress, stage by stage. You have to submit the progress, right? The guarantee should explicitly stipulate that it does not take the effect until the advance payment has been received. Right? Okay. Then retention guarantee or the warranty bonds. Another one, retention guarantee. This happens in most of the power plants when you are commissioning certain machinery. Then in those scenarios, we will call for retention guarantee, right? And especially construction contracts, right? Usually provide for interim payments upon certificate from the contractor, which testify completion of a certain amount. Now, you know, I know most of the people must have taken your housing loans from your banks, right? Staff housing loans. And then they are going to get bank at then donate. After the construction, normally the banks will hold about 10% of the loan value, asking you to submit a certain document. The same will happen in any other contracts, building contracts or whatever. We call it certificate of conformity, COC. COC, certificate of conformity, from the municipality or any other government institution. Pradeshi Sabahari municipality. Then certificate of conformity. Right? So until you submit that, those people will hold the money. But if you want to have that money, you can submit a retention guarantee and then ask for that money. Right? Warranty is also similar to that. Now, when we are doing commissioning of these power plants, right? Actually, power planting. The power plants will be would have allowed 10% to 15%. We keep a retention. So for 6 months, we'll see how it is functioning. Any malfunctioning, then we can call from the guarantee. Right? Okay. Custom guarantees. How custom guarantees? My custom needs guarantees. Yes, yeah. Participation. Go matter. Automatic part. Custom guarantees.
Against clearance of certain stuff, probably.
Yes, clearance of goods without paying the
duty.
Without paying the duty. Right? For that, we need custom guarantees. Right? Custom guarantees, of course, you have to be very careful because I have my own experiences. Right? When you issue custom guarantees favoring DGC, Director General of Customs is the beneficiary. Normally, even after expiry date, they will not allow us to cancel the guarantee. Undue kamtoruni, right? This wagiga ati parisang window, right? So without paying the duty, we get the goods cleared from the customs. Especially for these perishable items or where you have to check most of the goods, right? Inspect කරන්න තියෙන ඒනකොට වෙලා යනවා නම් අපි ටක් ගාලා custom guarantee එකක් දීලා බඩු ටික release කරගන්නවා. බඩු ටික release කරගෙන then we'll ask custom people to come and do the inspection and then give us the exact to calculate the duty component and then give it to us. That is another type of guarantees, custom guarantees. Only thing is, if you have issued custom guarantees, if the expiry is 31st July, don't reverse the liability on 1st August or 2nd August. Don't do that, right? Wait for the original guarantee. Wait for the original guarantee. It will take months, right? But still for all, wait for it because all of a sudden, even after the expiry, if something happens, the government officers, they will call on the guarantee, right? Then financial guarantees, overdrafts or loan guarantees. Now, that also I explained to you earlier also. If you have a foreign bank, right? We say HSBC, you have your money in HSBC UK. So they will give a counter guarantee bank guarantee. They will issue a guarantee, bank guarantee. Not a counter guarantee. They will issue a bank guarantee to a bank here. It's a DFCC, one of the DFCC customers, right? They will tell you, okay, we will issue a bank guarantee for equivalent of US dollars 100,000. Equivalent of US dollars 100,000. They have given you a guarantee. They have promised, okay, up to this particular value, you can give the facilities, the credit facilities to your customer, and up to this amount, if the customer has defaulted, then we will settle the outstandings to the bank. Right? So DFCC will give credit facilities. They will give credit facilities to their customer on, it is a LC, then OD, loans, various credit facilities they will give to their customer. And if there's they will keep on utilizing the facilities, and then if they have settled all the loans, if they have settled all the OD outstandings and LCs no issue, then after the expiry date, this will get cancelled. Right? Otherwise, they will extend the guarantee. It depends. Right? So this is how the financial guarantees are working. Right. The other, there's another one for counter guarantees. I have explained how the counter guarantees work. Then the factors considered by the issuing bank prior to issuance of guarantee. Factors considered by the issuing bank prior to issuance of the guarantee. One is the supplier's performance risk. Supplier's performance risk. That is your customer's performance risk. Then the applicant's credit standing. Applicant's credit standing. The risk of unfair calling of the bond. Risk of unfair calling of the bond. What do you mean by risk of unfair calling of the bond? Other two, normally we check. We check whether the customers are good and my applicant's credit standing, whether he is a good guy, right? The risk of unfair calling of the bond. This is also, I'm talking about the practical side of the banks. There are certain beneficiaries, they are just calling the bonds. Unfortunately, I'm restricted of talking or giving you the giving you some classic examples, common classic examples. If I mention that, that will go against me. If it's a classroom, yes. මේ වගේ මේකෙදි ෆෝරම් එකකට මට කියන්න බෑ. ඒකයි මේ virtual classes වල තියෙන අමාරුව. يعني I can't talk freely. මම පොඩ්ඩක් මේ හිත කතා කරන්නෙත් ඒකයි. That's the most important. I'm not used to these type of things to talk freely, right? So freely කතා කරන්න පන්තියේදී මම කටින් මොනව වෙනවද දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒකෙන් තමයි උගන්ට ඉගෙන ගන්න ලේසි වෙන්නේ. ඒ examples උත් එක්ක. දැන් මේ බොහොම ඉවසලා මට මේ කතා කරන්න වෙන්නේ. right? හිතලා කතා කරන්න ඕන වචන ටික වරගන්න නැත්නම් ලෙඩේ. There are certain institutions, I will not ask you to name the things, right? But if anybody is handling bank guarantees, you know, especially some government organizations, right? They are just calling on the bond, calling of the bond. Right? මොකටද අහන්නේ? මේ call කරන්නේ. my customer always tells me, sir, don't pay. When we get a claim, they will tell us, sir, don't pay. I have done my part. These people are just for their cussedness, they are asking, or they are asking me to give them some money, which I have refused. Now they are calling, but I have done it. But can we hold the payment? You can't take your customer's word on that, right? You can't take your customer's word on that. So you'll be in a very tricky situation. So in my case, I have a list of all those people who are making unfair calling, right? So when the next time when we received a application to issue a guarantee, if the beneficiary is that particular party, I will tell my customer, sorry, I don't want to issue a guarantee favoring this guy, because ultimately you will be in trouble and I'll be also in trouble. And if I pay the money unnecessarily, if I honor the claim, and if my customer comes to me with an injunction, or if my customer is going to sue me unnecessarily, I'll be getting dragged into these issues, right? So best thing is to avoid those customers. Again, සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එක organizations තියෙනවා, they are just calling. මට වෙලා තියෙනවා. So when they send me the claim, then we used to contact the customer applicant. Then the applicant will say, no sir, don't do it, right? I have already settled their dues and everything. So they are, for their customers, they are asking, they are calling this one, right? Let me call them. So when I, in a situation like that, before I do the payment, what I will do is I always call the party, the beneficiary, and I'll ask, I'll tell them, yes, we have got the thing, but my customer says they have already settled it. Tell me that still you need the money, the claim is still valid. You won't believe, 90% of the time, the answer I'm getting is, it's okay, you just hold on for 2 days, or 1 day, or 2 days, till tomorrow, till day after tomorrow. That's a funny thing, because if they have sent me the claim, then that means they are expecting the money immediately, on demand. But here, they themselves, when we double check, they say, okay, you just hold on. Now again, it is nothing in writing, verbal, right? When you are getting a verbal conversation, verbal instructions in future, right? What is the best way, or the you have to action, the best way. If you talk to a person, and if they say, okay, you wait for 2 days, or 1 day, or till tomorrow, what instruction, what have you to do? What should you do? Huh?
We can use a recorded line.
Yeah, recorded line එක ගන්න හොඳයි පුතා. අපේ call එකෙන් මේ recorded line එකක් නැති වෙලා ගන්න අපේ, especially the trade phones are not, the conversations are not recorded neither. At least what we can do,
You can get the email from
you can ask They will
They are
never
not
send.
going to
Email.
They
They
are
will
not
never
going
send. They will never send. They will never send an email, right? They know that it's they initially what they have done is something illegal, right? So they will never do. This is my practice. What I have practiced is that's what I am telling my staff also. Always post it slip එක හරි yellow color
Note down
මොනවාරි එහෙම නැත්නම් chip එක just write, always write the name of the person, right? Write the name of the person, call. So this company won't do anything. Call Mr. XYZ Pereira of this particular company and explain him about the thing, and he requested me to hold on for another 2 days or till 13th July and promised to come back to me, right? Something like that, and put your initial and staple it to the document and keep it. Whatever the conversations, record it, right? If you have a voice recording, it's good. Otherwise, at least do that. So at least you can tell their bosses or somebody, I have spoken to Mr. XYZ at this particular time, 12:05 noon, right? Or evening, whatever, 5 o'clock in the evening, right? 5 p.m. ඒක තියෙන්න ඕන. ටයිම් එකත් එක්කම. එතකොට ඒක අරගොන්ට කේස් එක මේ කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ ඔක්කොම එනකොට my customer will go to them and they will speak to Mr. Pereira. You won't believe 90% of the time, the following day we get the call from Mr. Pereira saying that, okay, we will withdraw the claim. We will withdraw the claim, right? ඔක්කොම එයාට මෙයාට සල්ලි වලට යනවා. ඔය unfair calling කියන එක එහෙම ආවම my practice is I'll keep a record on those bad parties, culprits, and advise my customers, sorry, I'm not prepared to issue bank guarantees on these parties. That's my prerogative, right? මෙච්චර උගන්ට කියන්නේ මේක මම practical parts යන්නේ. Not the legal one, how to handle it when you are a practitioner. If the bank agrees to issue the bond, right, it will mark the bond value against the applicant's credit line. The applicant should have a credit line for bonds and guarantees, right? So we have to mark against the credit lines of the applicant. Then request for account indemnity from the applicant. Always before we issue the guarantee, we request our customer, my customer, to give me account indemnity. Because he has to indemnify the bank that if something happens, that he will pay me, right? Or he will give me authority to debit his account, whatever. Then generally the charges are on annual fee base on the bond value. Annual fee base තමයි යන්නේ charges, right? On the bond value. For example, 2 to 3% of the bond value per annum, right? Okay. Then demands. Any demand for payment under a guarantee shall be in writing. Any demand for payment under a guarantee shall be in writing. No verbal demands we will not entertain, right? It has to be in writing. In the event of a demand, the guarantor should inform the applicant counter guarantor without any delay. The moment we received a demand, the guarantor, who is the guarantor? Generally,
The bank.
the bank. The bank should inform the applicant or the counter guarantor without any delay. Now, if there's a claim, then if it has been if there's a counter guarantor, we'll have to inform them without any delay. Then they'll do the needful. And actually, good customers, they always support with us and they'll try to sort it out. Right? Bonds and guarantees are two basic types. One is on-demand bonds can be called at the sole discretion of the buyer without any supporting evidence other than the statement indicating that money is owing. Right? If it is an on-demand bond, they can demand the money without any documentary evidence, supporting evidence. Only thing what we need is a claim, just a letter claiming that we owe this money. Right? Other one is a conditional bond. The previous one, A, we call it unconditional bond. Then the B is conditional bond. Specifies the documentary evidence that must accompany a claim. Right? Even though an on-demand bond exposes the contractor to the risk of unfair calling by the employer, it is more common in the competitive tendering market. Right? Now, these on-demand bonds are very popular and majority are on-demand bonds. Right? There are risks of unfair calling by the employer and all those things are there. But in the competitive market, it is a common one. The banks must simply pay out upon receipt of documentation specified in the bond without disputing the right and wrongs of the bond claim. Therefore, it is advisable to obtain insurance against unfair bond calling. Right? Right? The banks must simply pay out upon receipt of documentation specified in the bond. If it is a conditional bond, then we'll have to specify what are the conditions to claim, what are the conditions to claim, and what are the documentary evidence we need under conditional bond. What are the documents they have to submit? Right? Okay. Then we'll talk about the important operational aspects of a bank guarantee. Important operational aspects of a bank guarantee. Format of guarantee. Format of guarantee. Most of the guarantees, right, should be in accordance with the bank's approved format. Are there any students in today's class who are handling bank guarantees in our respective banks? Right. But do you know that for bank guarantees, issuance of bank guarantees, do you know that every bank, they are having their standard formats?
Yes.
Yes. You have your standard formats. Those formats should be approved formats. Approved formats. Approved by whom?
Legal division.
Very good. Approved by legal department. Approved by legal department. Right? And we should not deviate from the wordings. Where we are not lawyers. And if you have any doubts, if you have any gray areas, then you have to discuss it with your legal department. Right? Other than that, don't go and do the changes on your own, because you will be landed on unnecessary troubles. Audit track came up later, building and any deviation of the format to comply with the specific requirement of the beneficiary should have the approval of the bank's legal department. Very clear, right? Sometimes the customers will come to us with a certain requirements, specific requirements, which is not incorporated in a guarantee format. In a scenario like that, what are we going to do?
Refer it to legal.
Yeah, we have to refer to the legal department and get their sanction, right? Certain reputed beneficiaries will have their own formats and expect the guarantees to be issued in such formats. Certain reputed beneficiaries will have their own formats and expect the guarantees to be issued in such formats. In the example, අපි දකින්නේ ඒවා කාගේද? ඒ ෆෝමැට් එකටම එන්න ඕන. CEB, electricity board, ඊළඟ tender guarantees අරමයන්ට අපි දැක්ලා තියෙනවා. They have their own formats. ඉතින් අපි banks වලත් අපි කරන්නේ ඒ වගේ කීපයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ ඒවා අපි මේ some forces අරමය තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වෙන වෙනම වෙන්නේ. ඒවා අපි අරගෙන pre approval අරගෙන තියන් ඉන්නේ. නැත්නම් ඒ වෙලට මේ customer දීලා ටක් ගාලා last moment එන්නේ tenders දාන්න last moment එන්නේ එනකොට මේවා approval නැත්නම් අපිට දෙන්න බෑ. ඒකත් මට දෙවලුවට ආවේ last moment කියන්නේ if you have worked in the guarantees department, you will know if the tender is closing at 2 o'clock today, 2 o'clock today, all at least 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 customers, it depends on the, various customers like අඩුම ගානේ 5-6 හතක්වත් guarantee එක apply කරන්නේ 12:30 1 o'clock විතර. 2 o'clock they are closing the tender. ඒ වෙලේ ඉඳන් අපිට දෙනවා මං අර වදයක්. ඔය tenders වලට. right? අනේ සර් මේකට අග්ගාලා දෙන්න සර් දැන්. දැන් ඔක්කොම අර tender forms ඔක්කොම file එක දාලා tender මේ request ඔක්කොම file එක දාලා ඔක්කොම කියලා දැන් ඉන්නේ. මේක ගත්තා stapler එක ගත්තා ඇලුවා ගැව්වා අරගෙන දිව්වා. last moment එකකින් ඉන්නවා. last moment එකකින් ඉන්නකොට if you have not prepared well in advance, you are going to have issues. ඒක මට කියන්න බෑ. You have to have your own judgments on certain customers and beneficiaries. ඒතර ඒවා අපි දන්නවා last moment එනවා මොනවද කියලා. ඒවා කලින්ම අරගෙන approval අරගෙන legal එකේ. ඒ වෙලට legal එකට ඇරියොත් එහෙම legal එක එක්කෙනෙක්වත් හොයාගන්නත් නෑ lunch hour එක කියලා. නේද? අපි those are practical things. ඉන්නේ 2 o'clock close කරනවා නම් 1 o'clock නෙන්නේ. Most of the people are the lunch. ගන්න බෑ. එහෙම බැරිලා අපිට issue කරගන්න බැරි වුණොත් then what's going to happen? We are going to lose the customer. Right? So, operational aspects very important, right? the formats. You have to get it pre-approved and keep it ready. Always keep a folder with all the approved ones, right? Even if there's an audit in our department, and if they ask, and if you show them, this is how I'm doing. See, I have got all the legal approval for these formats, and they are ready, and this is how we are serving the customers. Just imagine. Then wordings of a guarantee. There are no standard international regulations toward guarantees. Hence, it could be worded freely depending on individual requirement. However, it should contain to indicate the purpose for which it is issued, expiry, and the conditions under which it claimed to be made. There's no standard international regulations toward guarantees, but it depends on individual requirement. Important aspects in a bank guarantee. The bank guarantee is one of the important in a ticket. One of the bank guarantee is the name of the applicant. The name of the applicant. Then the name of the beneficiary. And the short description of the underlying transaction requiring the issuance of guarantee. A short description of the underlying transaction. For the purpose of constructing this building at this particular place, depicted on plan number, tender දාන විස්තර වලින් ටිකක් දාලා දාන්න ඕන. නැත්නම් අපිට ඒක ටිකක් කනෙක්ට් කරගන්න බෑනේ. The maximum amount payable and the currency which it is payable. Currency is very important. We don't know whether it's dollars, the rupees, the important, right? Terms and conditions for claiming the payment in case of an eventuality. Date of expiry of the guarantee. Applicable law, applicable currency, that is should be there, and the applicable jurisdiction. Applicable jurisdiction is very important. අපේ හැම guarantee එකම අන්තිමටම අපි දානවා. Right? Applicable to the law applicable to Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, right? It's important. But if there's a court case or whatever litigation, then it will be subject to that particular jurisdiction or the applicable law. The format of the guarantee should be approved by the applicant and should be in accordance with the specifications of the beneficiary. What do we mean by that? Format of the guarantee should be approved by the applicant. Who gives the format to the applicant? Who gives the format to the applicant?
The beneficiary.
Beneficiary. Beneficiary is the one who is giving the format, and applicant should be agreeable with the specification of the beneficiary, right? In most cases, the applicants are ignorant. They are totally ignorant. So whatever the format they get, they think that is the format. You can't change it. When we advise our applicant, මුලදී පටන් ගන්නවා අපිත් එක රණ්ඩු කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි තේරෙන්නේ මම ඇහුවාම ඔයා බලලාද මේක දුන්නේ? නෑ සර් මම බැලුවේ නෑ සර්. right? ඔයගේ issues අපි හරි පරිස්සම් වෙන්න ඕන. Important liability clauses in a bank guarantee. Right? Now we are talking about the operational aspects, right? The මේ හරිය තමයි ඇත්තටම as a practitioner very important. උඩ හරිය academic. මුලදී කලේ. මේක practical. Right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ ටෙස්ට් කරන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට academic part එකෙන් තමයි ටෙස්ට් වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඉතින් මේවා හරි important. මේවැනුත් ටෙස්ට් කරනවා නම් හොඳයි කියලා මම නම් හිතනවා. Important liability clauses in a bank guarantee. It should be irrevocable and unconditional. What do you mean by irrevocable? What is irrevocable? මේ වචන අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තා.
Which cannot be changed.
Cannot be changed.
Cannot, I mean,
Huh?
with the consent of all the parties to the contract.
Yes. Without the consent of all parties concerned, you can't do the changes. And unconditional. And if you issue guarantees with all sort of conditions, it's unconditional. Payable on first demand. Right? ඒකත් අපි දාන්න ඕන guarantee එකේ text එකේ එන්න ඕන. Without contestation, demur or protest. Without contestation, demur or protest. Okay? මොනවාද විරෝධයක් නැතුව අපි මේක contest කරන්නෙත් නෑ. එහෙම කොහොමද කරන්නේ? ඔයා මේක එව්වට demand එක ආවිල්ලා තිනවා demand එක ආවට my customer කියනවා මෙහෙම වැඩ කරයි කියලා අර කැමේ ඒව අපිට වැඩක් නෑ. Without reference to the principal in case of a claim. Without reference to the principal in case of a claim. Notwithstanding any dispute between the parties. A parties වල තියෙන disputes අපිට වැඩක් නෑ. Right? Treating any demand made on the bank as conclusive. Okay. Amending a guarantee after issuance. Amending a guarantee after issuance. Normally, keep it in our head, amendments to a guarantee cannot be made at the request of the beneficiary. Amendments to a guarantee cannot be made at the request of the beneficiary. However, if such request is approved by the principal, that's my customer, banks could comply with such request. If there's any amendment, if you get a letter from email from the beneficiary who is not our customers, right? Somebody else, beneficiary, CW. CW can guarantee amend current. Can we do it? Can we do it?
No, sir.
No. We have to get it has to be, that request should be approved by the principal, my customer. Right? Then again, whenever one only month, please go ahead and do this amendment. Fine. Right? Then claim procedures. Claim procedures, when you get a claim, all claims should be made within the expiry date. All claims should be made within the expiry date. Right? In general, It's a general principle, right? If there's any claim, expiry date, July 2020, 15 July 2020, right? This, if there's any claims, the claim should be on or before 15th July. On or before 15 July, right? If you received a claim dated 17th July, then we have no right to honor this claim. Right? It is after the expiry. After the expiry. Expiry කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම liability එක අපිට reverse කරගන්න පුළුවන්. But in principle, most of the banks, they don't reverse the liability so fast, right? They always wait for the original document to be received. Original එක අරගෙන ආවට පස්සේ තමයි අපි receive කරන්නේ. The original එක තියෙන එක ඒකට case එකක් වුණත් යන්න පුළුවන්. ආණ්ඩුවේ වට ඕන තරම් chances තියෙනවා. අපිට ඒවට fight කරගන්න බෑ. Any claims made after the expiry should be rejected and not entertained. Right? Any claims made within the expiry should be expeditiously settled. If you have received a claim within the expiry, then do it fast. There shouldn't be any hesitation on the part of the bank in honoring a valid claim. Okay? Cancellation of a guarantee. Cancellation of a guarantee. මේ හරිය මේ ඔක්කොම මේ කලින් අවුරුදුල මම මේවා කළේ නෑ. මම මේ වර මේක ඔක්කොම චේන්ජ් කළා ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක. වල මේක මට මම හිතුණා since majority of the banks, the trade finance is handling guarantees, one day you will be asked to work in the guarantees department. That's how we rotate the people. And you should have a good knowledge about what is a bank guarantee and how it is operating and what are the operational aspects, right? අඩුම ගානේ එහෙම ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් එකක් ආවොත් මගේ නෝට් එකවත් තියාගෙන ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක බාර ගන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා you can go through it. ඒතර මේවා ඔයගන්ට හරි important වෙනවා, right? Over and over I am telling you, this class is not aiming at the rules and regulations, mostly on practical issues. And what I want to do is, I want you guys to be a good trade practitioners. That is including bank guarantees, right? Cancellation of guarantee should be cancelled after the expiry. Should be cancelled after the expiry. I mean, controversial. I'm not. I will not say yes or no to these things. But I can ask you, or shall we discuss the way forward or the best practice? Right? Expiry date 15 July. On 17 July, can we cancel the guarantee legally?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Very good. You are very confident. Yes, we can. Yes. Legally, yes. But practically, what should be the best way to do it?
We have to wait for the original document.
We have to wait for the original guarantee to receive. Very good. Right. So your banks are doing the correct thing, and on the other hand, you also know certain things. Majority of common sense, right? Use your common sense. Then you can answer these questions. Then, what is if you have not received the original by 20th July, still no original. Now your customer is asking you because we have blocked their liabilities. Am I correct? Egulangi guarantee limits අපි දැන් block කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Guarantee limits දැන් block කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Guarantee limits block කරලා තියෙනවා. Now he wants another bid bond to be issued. Now the previous one he hasn't got it. Now he wants another bid bond. I need another bid bond. Now there's no limits. All limits full. But this is expired. I cannot make a reverse color. How are you going to help the customer? මටත් බෑ කෙලිම උත්තරයක් දෙන්න. මේ වගේ වෙලාවට කෙලිම කස්ටමර්ට කියන්නේ 7 මෙච්චර කාලෙ ඉන්නත් එපා. අපි දන්නවනේ කස්ටමර් ඉන්නේ threshold එක කරගෙන කියලා. 17th වෙනකොටම හරි 16th 17th වෙනකොට first give a call to your customer and tell them, okay, this particular guarantee has already expired. I can cancel the guarantee and reverse the liability. Can you go to the beneficiary's office and try to collect it and bring it to us? ඒක තමයි ගොඩක් customers කරන්නේ. ඒ ගිහිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ collect කරගෙන අරන් යනවා. එහෙම නේද කරන්නේ? කරලා අපිට කියලා දෙනවා cancel කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම ගෙනාමත් සමහර වෙලාවලට if the amount is big, right? මෙතන මේ 17th වෙනකොට අරක උස්සගෙන ආවොත් you have to think all the angles, right? මගේ customer උස්සගෙන එන්න පුළුවන්. එහා පැත්තේ beneficiary ගේ office එකේ PN කෙනෙක්ට ගාණක් දුන්න ගමන් අනේ මේක expire වෙච්ච එකක් මට දෙන්නේ කිව්වොත් පන්නලා දෙනවා නේද? normally වෙන දේවල්. අලුත් දේවල් නෙමෙයි. right? තව මට කියද හැකි මම my hands are tied. මේ කටත් වහලා ඉතින් හරි අමාරුයි මේ කියන්නේ නැත්තම් ඒවා දෙන්න පුළුවන් experience මේ අපිට ගොඩක් ඩිස්කස් කරත හැකි. එහෙම ගියාම අපිට මේගොල්ලෝ අරන් යනවා. කීයක් කර දුන්නා? 1000 2000 දුන්න ගමන් අර මනුස්සයා දෙනවා ගැරන්ටි. ඒ තාම ඒ ගැරන්ටි එකේ ඉෂුස් තියෙනවා. තාම ඒ කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකේ ඉෂුස් තියෙනවා. ඒක කැන්සල් කරන්න බෑ. අර කවරින් ලෙටර් එකක් නෙමෙයි එන්නේ මේ කවරින් ලෙටර් එකක් නැතුව මේ ගැරන්ටි එක ගන්න දෙනවා. ඔරිජිනල් ගැරන්ටි එක දෙනවා නම් අපිට කවරින් ලෙටර් ඕනේ නැහැ. We can cancel it. But as a prudent banker, my advice to you is always call back. If a customer is saying any call back the beneficiary. Give a call. Look at the enemy. Call like a dealer. Can guarantee we have received the original. Can I get your confirmation, reconfirmation to cancel it? Right? Even නැත්නම් අපි කැන්සල් ලියුමක් කරේ ඊමේල් එකක් කරේ වන්නේ කියලා. එහෙම නැත්නම් හොඳම දේ ඊමේල් එකක් ඉල්ලලා ඊමේල් ඇඩ්‍රස් එකක් අරගෙන ඒගොල්ලෝ කවදාකවත් එවන්නේ ඊමේල් එක. We have to send them email saying that as per the telephone conversation, please confirm whether we can cancel the guarantee and reverse the liabilities. Yes, you may go ahead, you may proceed, then at least then we are covered, right? It is the product, right? Any premature cancellation should have the concurrence of the beneficiary. If it is before the expiry, definitely we'll have to have the concurrence of the beneficiary, right? Even after expiry, it is preferable to wait for a further period of 1 month for cancellation to avoid any disputes. These are practical things, right? Even after expiry, it is preferable to wait for a further period of 1 month for cancellation to avoid any disputes. The Patrame and the we have to keep on continuing the correspondence to get the original guarantee, right? You can always pressurize your customer and tell them, look, go and get this one, otherwise your limits are tied up. The limits are tied up. Don't come to me next time, last moment, 1:30, asking for a guarantee, because then if you do not have the facilities, then we'll have to refer to credit department for their approval. That might take 2-3 hours for them to take a decision, because then our situation, our position is exposed, right? So they have to be careful, right? They will miss the bus, right? Then beneficiary cannot unilaterally make a request for an extension unless such extensions are authorized by the applicant. This I discussed it earlier also. Beneficiary cannot unilaterally make a request because it's an irrevocable guarantee, right? Okay. Release of principal from the obligations. If no claims are received within the expiry, even though the obligations of the bank is fully extinguished, we should be cautious in releasing the principal from the obligation. We should be cautious in releasing the principal from obligations, because you can't just say expiry date 15th, 17th, may I make a liability be absolved from you with all the liabilities like original in certain countries, the expiry dates are not enforceable, especially in Middle East. Especially in Middle East countries, right? The expiry dates are not enforceable. Lankavet, ගොඩක් වෙලාට custom guarantees නම් මම cancel කරන්නෙම නැහැ unless I get the original guarantee, right? බැරි වෙලාවත් ඒගොල්ලෝ මේව කරලා claim එකක් එනකොට අපි ඔක්කොම liability reverse කරලා තිබ්බොත් my customer කියනවා customs නේ මොනාර case එකක් වෙලා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා now don't touch my account. Customs is I'm claiming, give me the money. Sali nae. එතකොට ඔය issues එනවා. ඊට පස්සේ customer එක සෙල්ලම් කරන්න බෑ. They will blacklist the bank. They will blacklist the bank. ඊට පස්සේ අපේ බැංකුවෙන් කිසිම දෙයක් යන්න බෑ. ඒව ආරංචි වෙනවා අපේ MD ලට CEO ලට chairman ලට. They will call you and ask for explanation how this has happened, right? Then so many question marks in front of your name. So that's why you have to be careful, right? Who can stop the bank from honoring its claim? Who who can stop the bank from honoring its claim. No one has the authority to stop the bank from honoring its claim. However, if there's a dispute, only a court injunction could restrain the bank from honoring the claim. Right? If there's in a dispute, they have to obtain a court injunction. Then they will serve the court injunction to the bank, restraining the bank from honoring the claim. Right? Most often, attempts by principal to obtain such an injunction or restraining orders are refused by courts. Right? Most often, attempts by principal to obtain such an injunction or restraining orders are refused by courts. Make a hොඳ trend එකක් ලංකාවේ පෞගේ කාලේ මම දැක්ක හොඳ trend එකක්. ඉස්සර වගේ නෙමෙයි when we were young guys මේ අපිට කතා කරලා ගිහිල්ලා injunction අරන් එනවා බැංක් එකට මේ housed offering. Now it is not so easy, right? Principal is my customer. එකපාරට ඒගොල්ලන්ට injunctions ගන්න බෑ unless otherwise you prove the reasons. You have to prove the reasons. But ඒලාවත් බොරුවට ගත්තොත් එහෙම customer will be in trouble. Right? In exceptional circumstances, such as a fraud, the court do intervene with an injunction or restraining order. In exceptional circumstances, such as a fraud, if it is a fraud, then court will intervene. Right? එතකොට දෙනවා ගොඩක් වෙලාට මේ fraud එක prove කරන්න ඕන. fraud එකක් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා. prove කළොත් ගන්න පුළුවන් injunction order එක. If a bank purposely delays a settlement of a claim in anticipation of an injunction being served, it could result in action being filed by the beneficiary for damages. අන්තිම එක හොඳට කියවලා බලන්න තව පාරක් මොකක්ද ඒකෙන් තේරෙන්නේ කියලා. If a bank purposely delays the settlement of a claim in anticipation of an injunction being served, මේක නම් පුතා කවදාවත් කරන්න එපා as bankers. Customers will come. So I know certain customers are very good with you. Very good with you. Personal friends ලා වගේ. සමහර අයට මචං කියන්නේ වැඩ කරන්නේ. එළ කියනවා මචං අනේ මේක payment එක කරන්න එපා settle කරන්න එපා claim එක. Just hold on. I'll be bringing the injunction. We have applied. Today evening I will bring it. ඔන්න අපි දැන් උල් කරගෙන ඉන්නවා. හෙට දවල් වෙනකොට දැන් උදේවරුේ පටන් ගන්න අපි දවල් වෙනකොට ඔන්න මතක නැහැ. එතකොට තමයි මතක් වෙන එකපාරට we get a call from the other party beneficiary. That's my money. One moment කිව්වා ඩක් ගාලා අර කස්ටමර්ට අරගන්නවා. right. ඊයේ ජජ් හිටියේනේ අද එනවා. අද ගේනවා. අද හවසනත් නැහැ. We are not handling only this particular claim එක විතර නෙමෙයිනේ කරන්නේ. තව department එක අනිත් වැඩක් තියෙනවානේ. නා අපවම තකනවා. third day, fourth day වගේ වෙනකොට අද ගේනවා කිය then 2-3 days යනවා. ඒ වෙනකොට beneficiary can file a case against the bank. right? Asking for damages. When put on. Make a win, we are just listening to our customers. So, if a bank purposely delays a settlement of a claim in anticipation of an injunction being served, it could result in action being filed by the beneficiary for damages. Clear the within the issues, and there are practical issues at the practical issues at the nothing in the bank.
So when on demand
Practical.
No, on demand like within how many days should you try to pay or
On demand means immediately.
කියන්නේ අද හම්බුනොත් හෙට වගේ?
හෙට වගේ යවන්න ඕන. අපිට සෙටල් කරන්න ඕන. කොහොමද මේක හදන්නේ? ක්ලේම් එක දෙපැත්ත අපි බැලන්ස් කරගන්න එක. I can't put down the steps. It is each bank has their own procedures. Right? But I don't think any bank is willing to give laid down procedures. 2 days, 3 days, laid down procedures. I don't think any bank will. You can check your procedure manuals. Wait for 3 days, wait for 5 days, wait for 3 days. Then the 4th day we have to do the payment. This is bank, unlike LCs, right? Bank guarantees a claim part is very practical, and you have to use your common sense, and you have to have very good PR. With claim claims sumana ganang. අන්තිමට මේ ක්ලේම් එක එවන එක්කන මට තෑන් කරනවා. ඒ ලෙවල් එකට අපි තියන් ඉන්නවා. That's your PR. ඒක විහිළුවන්නේ දැන් මේ මිනිස්සු මට තෑන් කරනවා කියන්නේ. ලස්සනට කතා කරලා එහාට මෙහාට ගෝලේ පාස් කරලා මේ ඉන්සරේ තියන් ඉන්නවා. කට වහගෙන ඉන්නත් බෑ. මම කස්ටමර් කිව්වට don't pay කියලා කිව්වා මම කට වහගෙන ඉන්න බෑ. I'll have to tackle the other party and always keep a record. කීයටද කතා කරලා කාටද කතා කරලා මොකද්ද උනේ මේ නිකන් ක්ලාක්ලට කතා කරන්න නැතුව ලොකු මිනිහෙක්ට කතා කරන්න ඕන. ඒ ඔක්කොම කරගෙන යනවා. එතකොට අරයටත් ඕනනම් මොනාරි දෙයක් ඒක සෝට් අවුට් කරගන්නවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ගොක්ලාට කස්ටමර් කියනවා ඕකේ you pay කියලා. අපි guarantees දෙනකොට bank guarantees වලට දෙනකොට අපි මේ කරන්න ඕන පුළුවන් තරම්. Right? Customer get standing important. Magi customer get standing. That's very important. Right? Okay. Then mala fide claim. That is wrong or unethical claims, right? The prudent bankers will examine the integrity of not only the applicant on whose behalf the guarantee is issued, but also the beneficiary. Right? As a good banker, prudent banker, we have to examine the integrity of not only the applicant on whose behalf the guarantee is issued, but also the beneficiary. The beneficiary hari kenedda කියලා අපිට ටිකක් හොයලා බලන්න වෙනවා. That's a good banker, right? If this additional precaution is not taken, there could always be a possibility of a mala fide claim, which the bank will not be in a position to resist in terms of its obligations and commit under the guarantee. අංකමගේ කට වහලා කියන මට දැන් කියන්න බෑ examples මේ වගේ ඒවා එනවා අපි එහා පැත්තේ beneficiaries ලා අපි දන්නවා මොන විදිහේ claims එනවද කියන එක So then you have to be very careful. You have to be very, very careful. And the best part is you can check your the beneficiaries beforehand, right? Another thing, what I am when I fix a limit for these guarantees, bank guarantees, which you can ask your customer, who are your beneficiaries? Who are your beneficiaries? Beforehand, you can ask. Then they will give you about 8, 9, 10 beneficiaries. Beneficiaries they'll handle with a certain set of beneficiaries. Immediately ask. Step number 1. Then you have time to check on those people. If you have not come across those people, then if they are new people, then you have time to investigate and see, right? Then you are clear. Application again now, guarantee issue that anybody can do. But we have to think of how to safeguard the bank. Right? In other words, bank guarantee is a blank check. It's like a blank check, right? There are instances bank guarantees are used for certain fraudulent transactions and not for the real purpose for which such guarantees are issued, right? So you have to be careful when you are issuing guarantees. Narcotics or අරමයට ගෑවිලා තියෙන කට්ටියට bank guarantees දෙනවා නම් අපි දෙන්නම හොඳ නැහැ, right? Insurgency ඒවා තියෙන organizations වලට අපි දන්නවා නම් හොඳටම මේගොල්ලෝ they are insurgents or something. You have to be careful, right? එහෙම නැතුව my customer is number one customer මගේ කෙනා, right? එයා කියනවා නම් එයා කියන එක ඕනම කෙනෙක්ට දෙන්න මං සූදානම් වෙන්න බෑ. Clear? ඔය ටික ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරොත් then you can cover the bank's part, and bank is always secured when you issue the bank guarantee. Okay. Then the uniform rules for demand guarantees, I have given you a set of uniform rules for demand guarantees, right? Please go to Google and type URDG 758, right? URDG 758. එතකොට AV URDG එකේ ආවම මෙන්න මේ refer the following articles: scope and application of the rules, then definition and general provision. ඔක්කොම දීලා තියෙනවා. ඔය ටික බලන්න. For further reading, you can get a better understanding of the URDG rules, right? Okay. This also I have given as a annexure, right? Issuance and renewal of bank guarantees, Exchange Control Department circulars, right? Some of the bank guarantees where the commercial banks are permitted to issue, right? Without going to Exchange Control Department pre-approval, right? Categories 1 to 16, that also you can read and for your future references, right? I'm not going to ask you questions on these things, make me categories 1 to 6, but it is very important as a banker, you should know where to refer, right? Again, for example, only the category 1 I will say, a guarantee issued on behalf of a person resident in Sri Lanka in favor of a person resident outside Sri Lanka in respect of overseas contract, right? Limits US dollars 1 million per contract, right? Excess of this limit requires exchange control approval. If it is within below $1 million, no approval is needed, right? Category 1, category 2, just for your information. Any questions? Now I have covered everything. Any questions on guarantees? Anyway, any questions?
Is there anything
Yes.
called a shipping guarantee where when you don't have?
If
Is
there's
there
anything,
anything called shipping guarantee when you don't? Called
shipping
shipping guarantee
guarantees.
when you don't have
Yes,
original
yes.
bill of? Yes.
Yes. Shipping guarantees, I'm not going to tackle it now because I'm going to discuss the shipping guarantees when I'm discussing financing of international trade. Right? There
Okay.
I'm going to discuss in detail shipping guarantees, all the pros and cons, right? But since you asked the question, shipping guarantee is when you received the goods, without the documents, and if the goods are perishable, then you have to get the goods cleared immediately. But without the BL, you will not get the delivery order, DO. So in a scenario like that, you can go to the bank with a indemnity. You have to give an account indemnity. With the account indemnity, they will issue a shipping guarantee to the shipping agent. The bank will undertake to pay the damages if the original documents not received or something, right? Or if there's any fraud or anything. Based on the bank's undertaking, the shipping company will issue the delivery order. And this particular guarantee, the bank has to give. It's an international norm. The bank has to give the shipping guarantee. Normally, the shipping guarantee is not 100%. How much? The liability?
300%.
300%.
300% of the invoice value. 300% of the invoice value is the shipping guarantee liability. Not easy. Right? Okay, dangerous, very. When I was working here, I thought only here 300%. No. I worked in about 5-6 countries. All the countries, it's international norm. Right? 300%. When we receive the original documents, then we will send the BL to the shipping company, and then shipping company will cancel the shipping guarantee and return our original shipping guarantee to the bank, so that we will release the liability. If we have not received the cancel guarantee, that liability will be remaining. There's country to country, different time periods. Some countries 6 years, some countries 10 years. Right? So always try to avoid issuing shipping guarantees, because if it is under LC, yes, you have a chance that documents you will 99.5% you will get the documents. Nothing to worry. If it is a collection, don't do it. If it's a correction, don't do it. Right? Because we don't know, we will issue the shipping guarantee, but the documents can go to Sampath Bank. Shipping guarantee has been issued by Bank of Ceylon, and they are holding to the guarantee. Whereas the documents have gone to Sampath Bank. Sampath Bank get say Sampath Bank customer go customers go bank with the customer බලනවා මේකේ බඩු ක්ලියර් කරලා ඉවරයිනේ. දැන් යාට මතකත් නැහැ බැංක් ඔෆ් සලෝන් එකෙන් shipping guarantee එකක් ගත්තයි කියලා. දැන් බඩුත් නැහැ බඩු ක්ලියර් කරලා. ඒක ෆයිල් කරලා දාලා කොහේ හරි ඒක හොයාගන්නත් බෑ ෆයිල් එක. වෙච්ච දෙයක් නැහැ. බැංක් ඔෆ් සලෝන් එකේ තියන් ඉන්න ඔරිජිනල් BL එක එනකම්. BL එක නැහැ. right? ඔයගේ ඒවා හරියට වෙනවා. අනිත් එක තමයි වෙන්නේ when you receive the original document, we give the original BL to the customer to go and get the guarantee cancel and bring it to us කියලා. කවදාකවත් දෙයිද නැහැ. බඩු ක්ලියර් කරගන්න තියෙනවා නම් ඕන දෙයක් කකුල් දෙක අල්ලලා වැඳලා යනවා. දැන් බඩු ක්ලියර් කරලා ඔක්කොම විකුණලත් ඉවරයි නෝ වෙනකොට ඊට පස්සේ අරක මතකත් නැහැ. ඒක එන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගේ issues shipping guarantees වල තියෙනවා. right? හොඳම දේ තමයි මම shipping guarantees කරනකොට මම කියන්නේ හිටියේ මගේ practical experiences. හොඳම දේ තමයි මේ බැංක් එකේ department එකේ retire වෙන ඉඳලා retire වෙන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවනේ අවුරුදු 55 60 යන කට්ටිය ඒක voluntary retirement අරන් යන 40 years 45 years old voluntary retirement VRS එක අරන් යන කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේ ඊට පස්සේ මිනිහට ජොබ් එකකුත් නැහැනේ. මම ගොඩක් වෙලාට මම කරපු තැන් වල මම කරන්නේ අර මිනිස්සයව එම්ප්ලොයි කරනවා කියන්නේ unofficial employ කරනවා බැංක් එකේ through කියන්නේ contract basis. එයාගේ ජොබ් එක අර shipping guarantees ටික දුන්නාම ගිහිල්ලා ඒ shipping companies වලට ගිහිල්ලා cancel කරලා ගියන් දෙන්නේ. ඒකට අපි තමයි shipping guarantee එකට ඉන්නේ බයික් එකක් කරනවා බයික් එකේ ගිහිල්ලා කරනවා. එතකොට අපි කස්ටමර්ට එක guarantee එකට අපි 200 rupees or 250 rupees I can pay him. Then he is collecting about 1,000 rupees a day. His pocket money, he is happy. එක roaming දවල් වෙනකොට වැඩේ කරගෙන ඉවරයි. And I am charging the customer මං කියන මේ කාට දුන්නොත් ඔයා මේක cancel වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයාගේ liability එක මෙහෙම block කරලා තියෙනවා. මම මේ වැඩේ කරලා දෙන්නම්. We will charge you 300 rupees for cancellation. Okay sir, thank you very much කියලා 300 නෙවෙයි 500 ගෙවත් කමක් නැහැ කියලා. තමන් නිකම්ම ඉඳලා මං ගානකුත් තියාගන්න. බැංක් එකේ. දේශි වැඩේනේ. හැබැයි කස්ටමර්ගේ හරි කැමති. මොකද කස්ටමර්ට මේක නැහැ මටත් හරි කොන්ෆිඩන්ට්. අද දුන්නා හවස වෙනකොට ගෙනාවා. ලයිබිලිටි එක රිවර්ස් කරලා දැම්මා. right? charge කරනවා කස්ටමරෙන් charge කරලා මෙයාට ගෙවනවා. කස්ටමර් 300ක් ගන්නවා මෙයාට 250ක් ගෙවනවා 50 අපේ P&L එකේ. You have to think innovatively. Right. Any other questions? Okay, fine. We'll call it a day. Right. Thank you very much.